So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
A lot of Americans don't even know that the phrase, "so help me God," is not in the Constitution. It's not part of the official oath. It's just been common practice for so long that we almost don't even hear it. In the United States, we have religious freedom, including separation of religion and government, which would actually make it unconstitutional to force any elected official to swear under God or on a Bible when they're being sworn into office. Those are just colloquial practices, and it's not part of our law. Some people think or believe that George Washington said it during the very first presidential oath of office, but the history record's actually really murky on that. So somewhere along the line, it became common practice. Many of our founders, in fact, Adams, John Quincy Adams, Thomas Jefferson, a number of our founders didn't use a Bible. They used books of law or no book at all. In more recent times, you've had members of Congress like Representative Keith Ellison, who was the first Muslim member of Congress, and he chose to be sworn in on a Quran that had been owned by Thomas Jefferson. Whether or not an elected official, be that the President of the United States or your local school board member, swears in on a Bible is absolutely a matter of choice. The founders of this country were really deeply committed to religious freedom, to separation of church and state for white people. They didn't provide that same religious freedom to enslaved people who were not entitled to practice their religions, either their native religions or their adopted Christian religions. Our founders didn't extend religious freedom to Native people who were not only forced off their sacred lands, but violently stripped of their native religions. When the phrase "one nation under God" was added to the Pledge of Allegiance, it was actually a pastor here in Washington, D.C. that convinced President Eisenhower, to add that phrase. And at the time, he said, anyone who's not willing to profess a Christian ideal is not an American, is not living by the American ideal. When we start to mix government and religion, the path down the road is much of what we're seeing today, or many of the laws that we've seen over the last few years that allow foster care agencies to take government money, but then discriminate against Jewish foster parents or LGBTQ foster parents. This isn't about Christians and atheists. This isn't about atheists wanting there to be no Christians in public life. This is ultimately about saying religious freedom is a shield to protect, not a sword to harm others.